जान्न हुने आज
एकदम रमाइलो छ तर म चाहिँ
No, all over the state.
Oh, all over the state.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
So they're awesome, right?
Is the coalition of organizations advocating for folks to vote no on 4 statewide ballot initiatives that will be on the November ballot. They are Initiative 2117 that will be
statewide convention, very much like this one. And we brought together hundreds of domestic workers, had interpretation in 7 different languages, so we could communicate with each other. And at our tables, we talked about
Hello guys, welcome back to another vlog aka Creative Creation. अहिले चाहिँ म छु यहाँ ACRS अफिसमा. आज चाहिँ हाम्रो मम्मीहरूलाई यो दिएको थियो यहाँ भिजिटिङ टुर्स आएको भन्ने ठाउँतिर टुर्सको लागि दिएको थियो. गाडी पनि ऊ तल आइसकेको छ. त्यसको लागि म पनि मम्मीलाई लिएर आज जाने होला छु. हजुरहरूलाई आजको सम्पूर्ण भ्लग के कस्तो लाग्छ हजुरहरूले हेरिदिनु होला. सम्पूर्ण भ्लग डिटेलमा आजको हाम्रो यात्राको बारेमा डिटेल देखाउने छु. पर चाहिँ यो चाहिँ बस रेडी भएको छ. यसरी नै आजको भ्लगमा के देखिने छ सम्पूर्ण हजुरहरूलाई देखाउने छु. हेर्दै रहनु होला. ACRS साउन्ड ट्रान्जिट पुजेट साउन्ड एक बसमा जाने आज आइसक्यो बस. यो चाहिँ आज भिजिटिङको लागि गाडीमा हिँडेर चाहिँ डम साइड जानु लागेको छ है मान्छेहरू. यतातिर हाम्रो मम्मी हुनुहुन्छ यहाँ. सबैजना हाम्रो भेला भएछन्. भेला भएर चाहिँ डम साइडतिर यहाँ हाम्रो दाई डम साइडतिर जान्न हुने आज
एकदम रमाइलो छ तर म चाहिँ नजाने हो.
म चाहिँ फर्स्टचोटि जाएँ हामी. यो चाहिँ हो एसिआरएस अफिस राम्रो आमा छ मित्रसक्रिया हुनुहुन्छ हामीलाई बसिरहेको पार्दै हुनुहुन्छ सामानहरू यस्तै यस्तै अरू हेर्नको लागि हजुरहरू हाम्रो च्यानल यस्तो यस्तो भिडियो अरू धेरै हेर्नको लागि हजुरहरू डम स्टेसनमा आइपुग्यो यो चाहिँ ठाउँ यस्तो रहेछ हाम्रो आमा बुवाहरूले निस्केर उभिराख्नु भएको छ अनि हाम्रो बस यहाँ छ अब यहाँ हाम्रो एउटा घर छ त्यो घरमा चाहिँ जानुपर्ने यहाँ छ काकोमा डम यहाँ चाहिँ ऊ देख्नुहुन्छ काकोमा डम अब यही ठाउँ चाहिँ हामीले आज बस्नुपर्ने हो बस्नुपर्ने हो यो यस्तो छ यो डल्लो घर छ यो डल्लो घरमा बस्नुपर्ने हो अब यिनीहरू फाउन गर्छन् अनि बस्ने छ अनि यहाँ के कार्यक्रम छ कार्यक्रम हेरेर हामी फेरि घरतिर फर्काउँछौँ भन्ने लाग्छ अनि के रहेछ के हुँदो रहेछ सम्पूर्ण हजुरहरूलाई देखाउनेछु हाम्रो च्यानल क्रिएटिभ क्रिएसन हेर्दै रहनु होला हामी चाहिँ यहाँ डमस्टे बसिसक्यो यहाँ चाहिँ एकदम प्र्याक्टिस भइरहेको घर विभिन्न झाँकीहरू देखाउने रहेछ उनीहरूले मोटर चढी दिल मिलाई सँगै बाँचौँ माया हजुरा दिल मिलाई सँगै बाँचौँ माया हजुरा सुनमाइको कालो मोटर म चाहिँ हलभित्र पसिसकेँ
oli lihua I kapua kaya. I am the Kumumulora Atira of our group, and we teach right at the Aaian Pacific Culture Center every Tuesday from 7 to 9. We're up in Kent and Olympia as our group is expanding into those 3 different cities. We're going to open up with the hit basics first with our 3 bahine. Hi.
More than 90% women, majority women of color, many of them AA and NHPI, women and immigrants. Domestic workers were excluded from our nation's labor laws when they were first established in the 1930s, and that has set an imprint for how we treat this work. Today, to this very day, the work is poverty wage work with no health benefits, no job security, no paid time off, no safety net, and very little power to negotiate. So for me, I started organizing 26 years ago when I met Filipina nannies in the parks and the playgrounds of Manhattan, and I listened to their stories about having to leave their home countries to work as caregivers for other people's families in order to send money back home. And when I asked them if they wanted to organize, if they wanted to break out of the isolation of this work, they immediately knew the power of coming together. And so in 1998, we formed a committee of Filipina domestic workers in New York that was a part of the Committee Against Anti-Asian Violence. And then in 2000, we launched Domestic Workers United, the nation's first multiracial domestic workers association. And together we decided that we wanted to do something to address the lack of protections for domestic workers, and we launched a statewide campaign to win a domestic workers' Bill of Rights. And so, because we wanted to make sure that the Bill of Rights really addressed and spoke to the needs of domestic workers, we had a statewide convention very much like this one. And we brought together hundreds of domestic workers, had interpretation in 7 different languages so we could communicate with each other. And at our tables, we talked about...
And the Defend Washington campaign is the coalition of organizations advocating for folks to vote no on 4 statewide ballot initiatives that will be on the November ballot. They are Initiative 2117 that would repeal the Climate Commitment Act, Initiative 2124 that would dismantle Washington's long-term care insurance program, Initiative 2109 would repeal the capital gains tax, and Initiative 2066 would take away some common sense planning laws. We can't talk about the initiatives without talking about the money behind them. This man on your screen, his name is Ryan Haywood. He is a hedge fund manager who moved here from California to benefit from our unfortunately regressive tax system. And he spent $6 million of his own money to get these initiatives on the ballot. And in summary, we need to vote no on all of them because they are good for him, they are good for wealthy corporations, but they are bad for the rest of us. The first initiative I want to talk about is Initiative 2117 that would repeal something called the Climate Commitment Act. This is the program that requires large corporate polluters like Chevron, Marathon Petroleum, British Petroleum to pay for the costs of the pollution that they create. If Initiative 2117 were to pass and these large corporate polluters were allowed to pollute for free, fundamentally what we would see in Washington state is more pollution, meaning more kids with asthma, more pollution in our waterways, more devastated farmland, and devastating cuts to clean energy and transportation programs statewide. Over 1/3 of our state's transportation budget comes from the Climate Commitment Act that would be repealed by this initiative. So this initiative would cause longer commutes and more traffic throughout the state. The next initiative I want to talk about that we heard from Aaian Pu as well is Initiative 2124 that would dismantle Washington's long-term care insurance program. Today, the program called Washington Cares is on track to make 4 million Washingtonians eligible for a $36,000 lifetime benefit for things like wheelchairs, ramps in your home, in-home care, things that allow Washingtonians to live in their homes longer with more independence and with more dignity. The program also allows those who care for their friends and loved ones to be paid for the care that they give so that we are not asked to quit our jobs and take a financial hit if we need to take care of someone that we love. Initiative 2124 would financially bankrupt that program, and it would hurt women the most. We know we live in a patriarchal society where women are expected to provide unpaid care for their friends and loved ones. So if Initiative 2124...
But they're awesome, right? Okay, we'll now hear from Tia Mua. Tia Mua is Community Engagement Organizer at Asians for Collective Liberation, Spokane. Tia is a proud Hmong American who has been involved with the Aaian and Pacific Islander Coalition since she was a teenager and was a youth speaker at the Democracy Summit 8 years ago. So she's not that much older. We love it. She now continues her work as a community leader, mobilizing Asian communities in the Spokane area. We are so excited to welcome Tia to share her story and speak about the importance of voting and being civically engaged. Put it together, Tia Mua. Yeah!
Tia Mua. Hello, my name is Tia Mua, and I'm the Community Engagement Organizer for Asians for Collective Liberation in Spokane. My journey with APIC started 8 years ago when I was invited to speak on this stage as the youth guest speaker for the APIC Democracy Summit in 2016. I was so inspired by that experience and this amazing summit that I felt the desire to continue with civic engagement work to this day. Fast forward 3 years after that first summit I attended in 2019, and I reconnected with APIC Spokane as a college equity ambassador intern, which we rebranded to Asians for Collective Liberation to disaggregate and acknowledge the differences between our Asian and Native Hawaiian and Pacific Islander cultures, community needs, histories, and languages. My identities of being a queer Hmong American woman play a huge role in why I do what I do, which is advocating for marginalized communities and creating events that build belonging. During COVID-19, I was horrified by the increase of anti-Asian hate that was rampant among our community, especially here in Washington State. It was just horrible to see it across the country, but especially here in Washington. And this was due to the racist language and scapegoating from politicians and leaders blaming Asians for the COVID-19 virus. I heard from many Asian students on my campus that they felt anxious, unsafe, hypervigilant, and some even sadly were racially harassed or attacked simply for being Asian. I decided it was necessary to create a safe space for other Asians and Asian Americans on the Aaian University's campus. I formed the Asian American Activist Group my junior year of college and started hosting weekly meetings to connect with other Asian students, as well as to advocate for more diversity, equity, and inclusion through the curriculum, through faculty and staff hiring practices, and through increasing support for our Asian language programs. I believe that my experience with APIC and ACL Spokane currently gave me the leadership skills and resources I needed in order to advocate and organize effectively on campus and in our larger Spokane community. So why am I still working for this organization and doing this advocacy work 8 years later? I love the sense of purpose and belonging that I feel when I get to engage in our Asian American communities, when I get to understand the needs more and barriers of our Asian communities from being able to fully participate in civic engagement. I also get inspired by the incredible Asian and Pacifica community activists I see across our state mobilizing people for collective change. When I hear about what other Asian and Pacifica leaders in Washington are doing to advocate, especially those here in APIC and ACRS, it inspires me so much and motivates me to keep going, especially on the hard days. My first in-person Asian and Native Hawaiian and Pacific Islander Lobby Day in Olympia was this February, and I felt so inspired seeing the hundreds of people that flooded the room, all of the many buses that people took from all over the state to advocate for the needs of our Asian and Pacific communities. I left feeling so inspired, learning from the strength and wisdom of elders and seeing how strategic they were at mobilizing our communities to show up and make our voices heard at the Capitol. I felt so grateful for the guidance and the guidance from other community leaders from APIC, which has helped me to grow as a leader and an advocate. As Michael mentioned earlier, APIC was formed after the Welfare Reform Act left gaps in our communities. APIC saw these gaps and realized we need to address the lack of social services and lack of language access for our communities. To this day, we need to speak up and vote to shift the systems of power that create structural barriers and structural inequalities and lead to gaps in our communities. Being passive doesn't get us anywhere. We must show up and advocate for our needs and show that we are a political force to be reckoned with. In 2021, the Pew Research Center reported that a majority of eligible voters said they received a campaign contact before the 2020 election, but the Latina and Asian communities were the least likely to be contacted by a campaign. This is likely linked to language barriers due to the lack of language access and other systemic barriers that prevent Asians from being fully able to participate in our democracy. As Asians, we're often stereotyped as the model minority, as many of you have probably seen and experienced and heard. And it's a very frustrating stereotype because it is a stereotype that says that we are all quiet, obedient, apolitical, law-abiding people who don't want to rock the boat and instead want to just keep our heads down. So take a moment and look around you. Maybe say hi to the neighbor, wave to them. Look around. The hundreds of people who came here to this summit today, it It's just a testament to showing how powerful and how political we are as Asians and Pacific Islanders. As we gear up for this pivotal moment in our democracy, we must educate ourselves on the initiatives and vote no on the 4 initiatives this November. We must rally together to ensure every voice is heard. Vote for your friends, vote for your loved ones, vote for those who aren't eligible to vote, and vote for our future. We are all depending on you. We're all dependent on each other. If we want to create a more inclusive democracy that represents the diverse needs of its people, we must empower young voters. Young voters have the power to decide our upcoming elections. Voters ages 18 to 34 will make up over 40 million potential voters in 2024, nearly 1/5 of the American electorate. Young voters' diversity, fresh perspectives, and status as the future leaders of our nation make their voices critical in shaping our nation's future. Let's commit to empowering young Asian and Pacifica voters. We have the power to make collective change when we continue to stand strong together, when we continue to speak up about our needs and develop creative and inclusive solutions together. Together we are a force to be reckoned with. Let's use our collective power and build stronger communities through our voting power. Thank yourselves for being here, for being politically active and engaged. And this is just the beginning. Let's sustain this momentum and keep on training the youth to step up and take on leadership roles so we can continue to grow and improve as a community through new and diverse ideas. I want to finish off with a quote from Grace Lee Boggs. She said, "You cannot change any society unless you take responsibility for it."
Your voices and the decisions I make as a stranger and as your next governor.
हेलो आजको हाम्रो के क्रिकेट क्रिएसनको भ्लग चाहिँ यस्तै रह्यो अनि खासै गरी यहाँ चाहिँ के रहेछ भनेर बुझ्न आएको थिएँ। खास गरी यो चाहिँ एउटा भोटिङ क्याम्पेनिङ रहेछ डेमोक्रेसीको अनि हजुरहरूलाई पनि हाम्रो भिडियो मनपर्छ होला भन्ने आशा राखेको छु। यदि मन पर्यो भने हजुरहरूले लाइक कमेन्ट सेयर र सब्सक्राइब गरिदिनु होला र हजुरहरूले कुन ठाउँबाट हेर्दै हुनुहुन्छ आफ्नो कमेन्ट पनि लेख्दै रहनु होला अनि अर्को भिडियोमा अर्को ब्लगमा भेट्ने बाचाका साथ आजको ब्लग यहाँ नै स्थापित गर्न चाहन्छु। सी यू अन नेक्स्ट ब्लग। बाइ फर नाउ।